Welcome to Skidded Media. I'm Ricky Skids, and this is our first car review ever. And let me tell you, I've been dreaming about doing this since I was a kid watching Motor Week on Saturday mornings. And guess what? We have one of my favorite vehicles to ever exist, the Toyota 4Runner. And this is the TRD Off-Road, and it costs $51,673 before tax, title, and license. Today, we're gonna see if it's really worth spending over $50,000 for this TRD Off-Road Toyota 4Runner. I'm Ricky Skids, and this is Skidded Media. The 4Runner history runs deep, well, since the 80s with the first gen 4Runner. And this 6th gen 4Runner has a slight homage to the first and second gen 4Runner.
Toyota, looking out for you with a 4Runner.
The 4Runner made a huge impact when it came out and was killing the game. In fact, it's what started the whole SUV thing. See, the 4Runner was literally just a Toyota pickup with a back row of seats in the bed and a removable top. And people went nuts for it. But the 4Runner had competition. The Jeep Cherokee came out in the same year, 1984. And a few years later, Ford introduced the Explorer. By the late 80s and early 90s, they were all going head to head in the growing SUV market. Now, the Cherokee and the Explorer unfortunately are not BOD anymore, or otherwise known as body on frame, but the 4Runner still is. Having body on frame is important for extreme off-roading, and this thing does that very well. Now, I absolutely love the looks of this 6th gen 4Runner. Same thing with the 4th gen Tacoma. Now, I was a little scared before they came out with all the refreshes because the 5th gen 4Runner and the 3rd gen Tacoma look so good, and I thought,
I hope Toyota doesn't screw up the refreshes.
And when they came out with all the refreshes for the 4Runner, Tacoma, the Tundra, oh my gosh, I was blown away and immediately in love. Toyota knocked it out of the park with all of the refreshes, and the 4Runner is no exception.
Now, I really love these taillights. I don't know what it is with them, whether it be it's a boxy kind of small shape, I don't know, but they're really sick. They kind of remind me of the new Land Cruiser's taillights, and sorry if it's windy, that's why I'm holding the mic the way it is so you can hear me, but I love these taillights. And we'll talk more about some of the style points here on the TRD Off-Road 6th gen 4Runner, but these taillights are freaking sick. It's not often that companies really put thought behind something like taillights, and Toyota did a wonderful job with these sick taillights.
And of course, the legendary roll-down window that every 4Runner has had of every generation. This is one of my favorite features of the 4Runner. And when I have my 3rd gen 4Runner, I use this all the time. It's great for wind buffering. You just want to throw things back here. And if you have dogs love it back here. I love when people put their dogs back here, and the dogs are so stoked to just be hanging out, putting their heads out here. Now, I cannot put my dog in here because this is a rental, but I can put myself in here and see what a dog would feel like. This is pretty sick, not gonna lie. I love it. Now, the one thing that kind of baffles me is how low this air dam is. And even the guy at Toyota said,
Be careful going over speed bumps. That thing is $1,000.
$1,000. Now, that tells me that people have taken this air dam out going over speed bumps, which is a little bit ridiculous, this being the TRD Off-Road. Even when I was driving in the Trader Joe's parking lot today, I was a little
nervous.
going down a little dip in the parking lot. Luckily, with a 10mm socket and a few bolts, this thing comes right out. I think Toyota knows that this is going to be the first thing that you take off when you get it home. Now, you might ask,
Why even put this thing on there?
well, anything that can help with getting better fuel economy for this honker, they're going to do, including these air dams that might get you half a mile per gallon more. Because this thing gets 19 miles per gallon city and 25 miles per gallon highway, which isn't actually all that bad considering the past 4runners got horrendous fuel economy. You were lucky if you're able to get 20 miles per gallon. That is if you are going 50 miles an hour and you're not lifted and or have bigger tires. So 25 miles per gallon, that's pretty good for a 4runner, if I say so myself. Now, what's helping this TRD Off-Road get that fuel economy? It's the iForce 2.4 liter turbocharged engine making 278 horsepower and 317 foot-pounds of torque. Now, for all the nerds out there, this is called the T24A. And it's been around since 2021, so it's not exactly new. Put it in the Lexus NX first. This would be a pretty sick swap in a drift car or a Miata or something. But in this thing, it's a little underwhelming. It's not that it's slow. It's just that this honker weighs 4,850 pounds. Now let's take it out on the road and I'll show you. Now, like I said, it's not slow, but it's not fast. Like, you punch it and it gets up to speed. And you do have other modes here. So you have sport mode, you have eco mode, and all they do is change how the throttle response is and the transmission shift points. It also changes the steering feel a little bit, so sport feels a little bit more tight and responsive. But regardless, when you punch it, it's not a rocket ship, but it does get up to speed here. One thing I do really love about this engine is you can hear the turbos. They kind of quietly spool up if you listen to them. And I'm actually really surprised. I took it up a really curvy paved mountain road the other day, and it feels really good around corners. It doesn't feel like it's gonna tip over or anything like that. Now, when we get on a flat here, we'll test the 0 to 60 because that's what people want to see for some reason in a TRD Off-Road 4runner. Now, there is another engine option called the iForce Max with hybrid assist. That one comes with 326 horsepower and 465 foot-pounds of torque. And I know someone's gonna be like,
Oh my gosh, it's a hobby.
listen, that argument is so dead and gone. Toyota is the king of kings when it comes to hybrids. In fact, they pretty much invented the production market hybrid system. So if you're gonna trust anybody with a hybrid system, it's gonna be Toyota. But this one I'm driving doesn't come with the iForce Max, which we'll talk about in a second.
Now, you do get some cool modern features, and to all the people that were complaining about the lack of technology in Toyotas, well, it's here. The 6th gen is a brand new Toyota 4Runner, and you should expect it to not change for probably another 10 to 15 years, which is fine by me. That's the beauty of Toyota, the reliability. Part of how Toyota gets that reliability is by engineering and testing years before they release it, and once they release it, if it's good, they don't change it, and if they change it, it's going to be small, minor upgrades to make whatever they made a little bit better. And you know that good old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or if it ain't broke, don't change it, or if it ain't fixed, why break it? You get the point. That's why the 5th gen 4Runner stayed around so long, and the 5th gen sales were very strong. And they honestly probably could have just kept selling it and people would still buy it, because oftentimes people don't care about how big the screen is or how configurable the dash cluster is or if it has Apple CarPlay. That's not what people are buying Toyotas for. But with the 6th gen, you do get all of that, along with lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and the crash avoidance collision system, whatever you call it. It's almost autonomous. You know, it keeps lanes pretty well, but sometimes when you're coming up on the little center lane that has the little, turn section, I don't know what you call that, it tries to divert itself into the turn section there. But other than that, it does a pretty good job at driving itself for the most part. The one thing I'm a little surprised at is that it doesn't have electric seats. And I know someone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, electric seats, why do you want that? Well, at this price point, it's kind of to be expected. I mean, my 23-year-old Lexuses have electric seats. That was 23 years ago. And I'm pretty sure that the Off-Road Premium gets all that. This also has cloth seats, which, again, it's not a big deal, but still, it's a $50,000 vehicle. Okay, let's do the 0 to 60, and we're gonna do it in sport mode here. Brake boost it. Okay, so 7.8 seconds is the 0 to 60. We'll try it again here. Brake boost it a little bit. So 8 seconds, which, again, this thing's a honker, right? And even though it makes pretty decent power, it's not a race car, right? But it does get itself around. Now back to the engine. This TRD Off-Road does not come with the iForce Max. To get the iForce Max, you have to get the TRD Off-Road iForce Max, or the TRD Off-Road Premium iForce Max, or the TRD Pro, or the Trail Hunter, or the Platinum, or the Limited iForce Max, but not the SR5, TRD Sport, TRD Sport Premium, TRD Off-Road non-iForce, TRD Off-Road Premium non-iForce, or the Limited non-iForce. Which brings me to my next point. The 4Runner has 12 trims. Yes, 12. And I'll be honest, it's a little excessive. It really makes me wonder if manufacturers are able to really make enough to justify having 12 trims. I mean, they must be to be able to have 12 trims. But, in my opinion, they could probably boil it down to 3 or 4
like the SR5, TRD Off-Road Premium, the TRD Pro, and then maybe just have some manufacturer dealer options that you can get on top of those. But to have 12, it's pretty nuts. Not to say having 12 trims isn't a bad thing, but it's a little unnecessary. And if grandma goes to buy one of these things, she may not know what to buy. So what kind of options do you get with the TRD Off-Road non-I-Force Max? Starting off with the exterior, you get these sick TRD wheels with the machine polished lip and the red TRD lettering on the center cap. Now, these remind me of the TRD Rock Warrior Tundra wheels, and I love these. Not often do manufacturers make really freaking cool wheels, but these wheels are freaking sick. Now, they're wrapped with Falcon Wild Peak AT3WAs, which are not bad, but KO3s are a lot better. And that's probably what I'd put on if I were to buy this. And for the suspension, you get these Bilstein shocks with remote reservoirs for extra cooling when you're doing your gnarly off-roading, or going over a lot of speed bumps while you're doing your local mall crawling. Now, the paint on this TRD Off-Road is called Everest, and I'm usually not a green guy, but there's something about this green that makes me feel something inside. There's like this pearl in it, and it makes the paint almost glow in the sun. And I know there's British Racing Green and dark Highland Green, but I don't know, there's something about this green that just, there's something inside me that is burning, almost like love or heartburn. Either or, it's a pretty great green. Now, I love the ice cap white in these 4Runners. There's just something about the Stormtrooper look on 4Runners. I first fell in love with the Stormtrooper look with the 5th gen 4Runner. It's, I don't know what it is, but I just love that white and black contrast. And I think the 6th gen 4Runner pulls off that Stormtrooper look even better than Stormtroopers themselves. Especially the TRD Pro. Oh my goodness, I love the TRD Pro. And Toyota, if you're watching this, I would love to review a TRD Pro. Any of them. 4Runner, Tacoma, Tundra, Sequoia. But regardless, the ice cap white is pretty sick tight. Now, another option you get are these factory running boards, which if you're going to be doing any kind of serious off-roading, this is probably going to be one of the other things you're going to take off as well, which brings me on a little rant. I don't know why manufacturers put running boards on things that probably don't need running boards. I feel like you have this kind of awkward step in between where you can either choose to use the running board, or you just kind of skip over it and you hit your ankles on the running board. I really wish manufacturers that have more off-road oriented vehicles would just have factory rock sliders. And that would be awesome because it would make it even more trail ready. And you know, Toyota's not the only one that does this with the running boards. Every manufacturer does it. It's like, you know, a two-wheel drive F-150 gets running boards, and you don't need running boards for a two-wheel drive F-150. I get it for the big-ass diesel trucks, but, you know, for this thing, you know, it's like a weird in-between. If you're really short, it's great, but if you're just a regular person, you just kind of have this weird, awkward decision to make. Anyways, Toyota, if you're listening, factory rock sliders would be absolutely stick tight. Now that I'm done ranting about running boards, what else do you get on this TRD Off-Road? Well, you get this pretty cool TRD Off-Road badge. And that's really it for the TRD Off-Road package. Now, I mentioned it before, but regardless of the trim package, I love the design of the 6th gen 4Runner. From the headlights, to the aggressive body lines, to the cool little fender vents that either do something cool or nothing at all. I'm not sure. I couldn't find anything that said they did something. But from the front to the back, this thing is just sexy, rugged. And I can tell you now, it's going to be a legendary design for years to come. And I also did mention earlier, this pays homage to the first and the second gen 4Runner with this cool little wraparound side window. I love this edge right here, just so freaking sick. Now, it might be expensive to replace, but I don't know, it may be cheap. I'm not sure. Regardless, I love that they paid homage to the first and the second gen 4Runner, and it looks so sick on the 6th gen. Now, as far as the TRD Off-Road trim, it's kind of the cheaper off-road package. It's kind of the middle of the road. And this one comes in at around $51,000, and it has some really cool off-road features. Which brings me to my next point. Let's test some of those features out. Okay, so we have a little bit of a technical section in front of us. So what we're gonna do here is switch over to 4 low. I am in 4 high currently. So we'll go to 4 low here. Have to put it in drive to get it to 4 low. And just for funsies, we're gonna put the multi-terrain select on. So we'll put it into, we'll just leave it in auto and let it kind of do its thing. Now you do get some pretty cool options. You have the differential lock, which is helpful for situations where you might be needing it. Differential locks give you extra traction. Basically, you get split power between whatever axle the differential lock is on. And so this thing also has crawl control on it, which we'll use here in a little bit. But for now, let's get to this little technical section here. I'm gonna put the diff lock on as well. And hopefully we don't scratch this brand new TRD Off-Road because it is a rental. And that comes into my pocket. Nice, nice. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes I get accents when I start off-roading. Now you do get some pretty cool interior bits. On this side you have all the obvious stuff like switches for the gas door, automatic headlights, traction control. You have the AC power switch. So this thing has 2 plugins for 120 volt plugs behind in the back seat area and in the back area. You have all the multimedia controls in the steering wheel. You have the configurable dash, which is really cool. You have this really cool TRD start engine button. It's red and aggressive. And then you have all your climate controls. And you have the nice multimedia display, as they would call it, with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Then you have all of your off-road controls, which we'll go over in a second. A couple things is what's pretty cool about the dash is that you get to have this kind of configurable dash where you can change whatever you want. You can have it to show the boost, the miles per gallon. You can show all your other gauges. You can have the degrees of what it's sitting at, you know, vertically and or side to side. And then you can obviously change it however you want, which is pretty cool. Like all the people that were complaining about lack of technology, it's here. Of course, we already went over, you know, sport, normal, eco, and you have all your off-road controls, and you have lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and the crash avoidance system. And it's pretty neat because it'll brake for you and all that. Cool. Well, let's get to off-roading and we'll try out some of these controls here. Okay, so I can't take this thing anywhere gnarly because it is a rental and I don't want to pay thousands of dollars to fix it if I break it. But we're going to go up this little kind of easy trail
What I do want to show you guys is the crawl control. Pretty neat. Right now, I am in the auto multi-terrain select mode, but we're going to change it to rock. And then we're going to put the crawl control on here. In the crawl control, you can adjust the level. So right now we're in low. We'll bump it up a little bit to medium. Right now, I don't have my foot on the gas or the brake. And so what it's doing right now is it's using traction control and all of its features to be able to do all this. And so it's sensing for loss of traction and crawling up by itself. Pretty neat. Now you can, intervene and press the brake, but oftentimes if you're off-roading for several hours, let's say 6-7 hours. I've been on trails that have taken 7 hours before. You might want a little break, and it's kind of nice that it kind of just does its thing. We're gonna go through this little ditch again, and we're gonna use crawl control. We're gonna put it into kind of medium-high mode, and once we get there, we'll kind of slow it down some. Now this time I don't have the diff lock on, so we'll see how it does. Got the diff lock. A little curious. Okay. Let's slow the crawl mode down. And look at that. Beautiful. All right, and that's not me. It's doing it all itself. So I can see how this can be very nice on really long off-roading trips. Not having to constantly feed back and forth. Pretty neat.
So is this TRD Off-Road 4runner really worth spending over $51,000 for? Yes and no. Yes, if you're looking to spend the money on a really cool, reliable, awesome off-roader that will hold its value for several years. And no, if you're not looking to spend that much. It's really that simple. Now, is it expensive? Yes, but no. See, expensive is subjective to the person. Now, can I afford it? No. That's why I drive a 23-year-old LX470 with almost 300,000 miles. Is this 4runner really cool, and would I buy it if I had the money? Absolutely. This thing is amazing, and there's just something about 4runners that are special. They've always had this special aura about them. They're capable, they're reliable. You can have so many amazing adventures with them and not have to worry about breaking down up there. Whether you're a weekend adventurer or an avid off-roader. But if you're planning on dropping over $50,000 on an off-roader, the 4runner is the choice, in my opinion. You get everything you need and more. From its legendary history, to its updated amazing looks, to its potential, and to all the adventures that you can have, whether it be up in the mountains or in the Trader Joe's parking lot. This thing does it all well. And I can't wait to see all the cool builds and soccer moms and overlanders using these things. And maybe in 20 years, when one of these things have 200,000 miles, I'll buy one, put a lift, wheels and tires on there, and be able to enjoy it. Or if you like and subscribe to Skidded Media and help us grow the channel, maybe I can get one with 100,000 miles instead. I loved making this review. This has felt like a dream come true. And I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did making it. Now, even though this is the first car review, this definitely won't be the last. But it's really hot and I'm hungry and I need to get going and probably wash this thing before Toyota sees how dirty it is, even though it's not that dirty. Anyways, I'm Ricky Skids. This is Skidded Media. Stay sick tight.